All right, hello again. So in this quick video, we're going to show how to import images using Adobe Bridge and some of the things you can do as you do that. So I have a card here plugged into the computer. It's from some images from a Nikon D500 are on them. You can, some computers will have a slot for an SD card. Most cameras use SD cards now. There used to be a ton of different formats. Most of them are SD cards. But some computers will have a slot, some won't. If you don't have one, you can get an SD card reader. This is one that we use quite a bit. It's $10. They're pretty cheap. And you plug them in. This one's USB-A or USB-C. So it should work on most computers. And then you plug the card in, and that's how you do that. So you could do this. Here's my card, right? It's plugged in the computer. If I drag this to the preview window, you can open the folder that way, or open the folder with those images in it that way, but they're still on your card. So I would warn you against working on these images, right? If I double click this, it will open in Camera Raw and I can edit it, but now I'm editing files that are on the card. Sometimes these cards will not work if you start saving like PSD files, which are Photoshop files, or folders. When you edit an NEF file, it will create an XMP file. Well, we'll talk about all that in a second. But long story short, I would suggest not editing images on the card, meaning these are on the card right here. If I right click on this and say Reveal in Finder, this is on a Mac, of course. Similar thing on a PC. It shows that image is on this card, in this folder, and then in this folder. So what we want to do is we want to import some images. So I'm going to click this button right here, which looks like a camera. That makes sense, right? It says Get Photos from Camera. It's also underneath here under Get Photos from Camera, same exact thing. So I'm going to click that. It's going to ask me if I want Photo Downloader to launch whenever a card is connected. I'm going to say no. I'll say Do Not Show again, because that means every time you plug in a card, it'll launch Bridge, which you may not want. So I'm going to say no. And then it shows this. It actually probably shows this. So this is the Adobe Bridge photo downloader. I'm going to click on this, Get Photos From, and it'll show as devices or like folders sometimes. There's only one card in there, but it thinks it's two, I think, because it has different folders. And then it will show some information, but really you can't tell a lot from this. If I did it this way, it would get every file, which is 457 files, 5.5 gigs in this video would be longer than, the longest movie you've ever seen. They're getting pretty long. So we don't want to do that. We're going to click on Advanced Dialog down here at the bottom, right there. Because we're advanced, right? So then you'll see it will show you the images on the card. Now, if there's a lot of images, this will take a long time too, because it has to kind of load the previews and it might take a while. That's why it's good to not have, billions of images on your card. But I'm going to say uncheck all right here, because I don't want to import everything. That will take a week. So I'm going to click uncheck all, and then I'll check the ones that I want to import. So I could either just click on them and hold down Command on a Mac or Control on a PC to do them when they're non-contiguous. That's a fancy word. That means they're not touching each other. Or I can click on one, and then I'll just do like some of these. Let's see here. I'm going to click on one and then hold down Shift and then click on that, the last one, and then it'll do all the ones in between, obviously. So let's do that. These are all JPEGs. Sorry, through the magic of editing, I just moved down a little bit, so I got to a part where there was JPEGs and GIFs here. Or JPEGs and RAW files. So here are some JPEG. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to go down to get down to here. I guess I'll just get these. So then those are unchecked, right? I clicked uncheck all. Now I just check on those, and now it's going to import those 7 files. Some of them are JPEGs and some of them are NEF files, which are RAW files. So up at the top, it says location, choose. So where do you want these to go? So I'm going to click choose. I'm going to go on the desktop to keep it simple. I'm going to make a new folder. I'll call it soccer because I think they're soccer photos. and I'll click open. So now it says soccer, one subfolder. So it says create subfolders here. So I don't really need subfolders. You could make it have subfolders by date. So it will automatically break down whatever you selected by date. I don't need that, so I'm going to say none. Rename files. You could have it not rename files, but I'm going to show you how to rename them real quick. That's because if you don't rename files, you end up with this. You're like, hey, where's my favorite photo DSC0029? Yeah, that doesn't mean anything, right? So I'm going to click here, and you can see there's a ton of options for naming the files, different combinations. I'm going to go to advanced rename, and I'll try to make this quick. And you may have seen this somewhere else as well, but it's kind of important. So I'm going to put my name on here. And I'm not going to put any spaces in there. I'm going to put underscores. And then I'm going to put, let's see. I don't need this, I don't think. And I don't need that. I'm just going to put soccer and keep it simple. Right there. And then underscore. And then I am going to leave in sequence number. And I'll do 3 digits. And so it shows you what the file is going to look like, right? Or the file name is going to look like. It's going to say Mark Garrett Soccer 001 JPG. Maybe I will put in a date. Let's say I want to put a date in. I'm going to click on the plus, and then I'll say date and time, and then I'll do month, day, and year, sure. So now it has, and I probably want to add another underscore in there. So now it has Mark Garrett underscore soccer underscore, there's the date 9/29/24, and there's the number. So anytime you want to add anything between these, you have to click the plus, and then you can pick text. And I just did this one to add an underscore between the date and the 3 digits, or else it would just look like that, which looks like a weird long number. So I need something in between there, which I'll just put an underscore. Yeah, which is not now working. Let me see. I'm going to cancel, or let's see. Let's say okay. I think it is working. I hope. Let's try that again. No. Oh, I didn't put the underscore. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now I got it right. Okay, so it shows you what the name is going to be. Preserve current file name in XMP means the old file name will be in the XMP file. What's an XMP file? It's kind of a text file that refers to the image. It's used for a lot of things like data. It's also used to store editing information. So you could check that if you want to do that. That is fine, but you don't have to. Other options, you can open in Adobe Bridge, which just means they're going to show it to you after you import it. You could say convert to DNG. DNG stands for digital negative. That will change this Nikon RAW file, which is NEF, to a DNG file, which is an Adobe RAW file. Maybe it's a little more compatible with things. You don't have to do that, but that is a possibility. You might save it as a DNG, which is a RAW file. To back up a little bit, a RAW file is the raw image data from the camera not changed into a JPEG. JPEGs are already processed and sort of cooked, right? And then they're output to a JPEG, which is a very common file format. We'll talk more about that probably. But a RAW file is uncooked. It's straight out of the camera. It has to be processed a little bit to be that usable. JPEGs do not. JPEGs can go straight on a website if you wanted to. So, if you want to convert your RAW files to DNGs, you can do that just by clicking that. You could also delete your original files while you do this. I would be careful with that, but you can. There's also saved copies too. So that is a good point to see that, in that you don't want one copy of important images, right? What if I get paid $10,000 to take these pictures? I didn't get paid at all, actually. That's kind of a bummer. But what if I got paid a lot of money to save these pictures, to take these pictures, and then I didn't have a copy, and then something happened to the hard drive or the computer or whatever? I'm dead, right? I don't have the pictures anymore. So it's always a good idea to have at least 2 copies of an image, preferably on different devices or different memory storage. Like you could put one on a USB drive or on an external hard drive and your computer. but 2 places at least. Some people say 3 and 1 online, but I don't believe in online really because I'm afraid of AI and things. So, but at least 2 copies. So that I would probably do, but you don't have to, but I'm telling you it's the wise thing to do. I'm going to turn it off just because I'm not going to save another copy for this demo here. And then you've got metadata. Metadata, what's metadata? Metadata is data about the images. It's kind of embedded in the image. So you can make a template for that, or you can say nothing, or you can do basic metadata. You can also do templates, I think. But I'm gonna just put my name on here. So that'll be embedded into the file. And copyright, I think these were 2024, even they're old. So that is it. So I'm gonna click on Get Media. And then hopefully if it works, it gets the media and it's renaming them and putting them where I want them all at the same time. And then here's the images. So now they are, if I right click and say reveal in Finder, they are on the computer in this folder that I made on the desktop. So now I can work on them in safety and a clear conscience. You can see they were renamed, which is good. So now they're not just like image 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now I can also see right now down in the metadata area of the bridge, I can see a lot of information about the image. I can see what the f-stop was, what the shutter speed was, what the ISO was, what the metering pattern was, what the white balance was. You don't know what all these are yet, maybe, but you will. I have confidence in you. This is the resolution, how many pixels it is, how big the file is, what kind of file. There's all kinds of other stuff in here. When it was created, the bit depth, you don't have to worry about that yet. So all that's in there. That's under file properties. Also under EXIF data, this is actually EXIF data too. That's camera data. It tells you how you shot the image, what exposure mode you were in, what your zoom was, what lens it was. Oh, that was that lens, huh? What the date was, what your aperture was. Again, you don't necessarily know what all these are yet because this is early in the class probably, but you will. What the metering mode was, the white balance, all these settings are on the camera. It used to be back in the dark days, people would write that down so they would know what their settings were if they wanted to know. But now you don't have to, it's in the file, right? There's also a couple of other sections here. If you click these little triangles, you'll see some other sections. IPTC is, I opened a web page for you guys, is a sort of journalism organization that you can embed images in there about who shot the photo and things like that. Here's creator. Oh, it's got my name in there. Job title, all kinds of information. That all can be embedded in there. That's IPTC core. There's also an extension, like more stuff that you can embed in the image. It's like information about the image, metadata, right? There's GPS information. There's audio and video information. That is only if it's audio or video. And then the last thing, I think it's the last thing, is DICOM, which is, I don't know if that's how people say it, but it is for medical imaging. Digital imaging and communications in medicine. DICOM, that's what it stands for. I just learned that. So we're not using any of that, obviously. So I just wanted to show you that I have access to a lot of information about the file right here inside of Bridge, and it's coming from these files, right? Other things you can do in Bridge as you import or after is you can apply keywords. So I could apply keywords that I can search, kind of like tagging an image. You may see another video on that. I'm not going to go into it now since this is supposed to be short. And then there's a lot of other things in here, obviously, inside of Bridge. But that's how you can get the images in. You got them off the card. They're now on your computer. They've been renamed. They have a little bit of metadata in them, but I think that's good enough for this one. So I hope that helps a little bit, and I'll talk to you again later.